Background info. I, 28 female, own a house of my own. Ex-fiance Mark, 35, never officially lived with me, although he often stayed over. He traveled a lot for work, and I broke off the engagement when I found out he's had a 3-year-long affair with Sarah, 19, in another state where he worked. I was heartbroken, but I was horrified about that age difference and what a creep Mark is. Welp, Sarah's pregnant. Mark split as soon as he found out. No trace of him. Quit his job even. Sarah's panicking, and her family kicked her out. She showed up at my door last week, hoping Mark might be here. I told her I hadn't seen him in a few months, since he got the last of his crap from my place, and she broke down crying. Apparently she had no money and was living out of her car. She's 6 months pregnant and has no health care. I feel for this girl. Mark manipulated the heck out of both of us. I set Sarah up with a lawyer friend who is helping her pro bono, and I found a shelter that can house her for now. I called Mark's mom, Linda, with whom I'm still on okayish terms, and told her what was happening. Linda got me Mark's new info, and I gave it to the lawyer. Sarah showed up at my door again yesterday with her brother. He demanded I let Sarah live with me and pay her medical bills since I let my man off his leash. I said no and closed the door, but they wouldn't leave, and I eventually called the police, who removed them from the property. Now Sarah, her siblings are spamming me, saying it's my responsibility to help since Mark is my ex and I have a house all to myself. I feel like I have helped, and they just see dollar signs. Linda says I should help Sarah too, because Mark was ultimately my responsibility, and I didn't satisfy him as a partner. I feel like I'm going crazy. So, am I the idiot here because my cheating ex's pregnant girlfriend thinks she's entitled to move into my house? Not the idiot. What? This is so nonsensical. I feel for this girl, but other people in her life are way more responsible for her. Block those crazy idiots, but first send the pregnant girl to the ex's mom's house. It's ultimately her responsibility for raising a piece of crap. Not the idiot. What world is that family living in? Let my man off his leash? What the actual heck? Block them. If they show up, call the police and work towards a restraining order. What insanity is this? Also, notify your lawyer friend they are doing this and see how long that pro bono work happens. Hopefully, the young woman can maintain that legal representation. Mark engaged in illegal acts to have started that affair with her when she was only a teen. She is very hormonal and in a very stressful situation. Putting more onto her is not right, and neither is housing her. She needs to understand OP's boundaries and direct her anger at Mark. Yes, I cannot believe what I'm reading too. He was your responsibility? You didn't satisfy him? OP, you're nice enough to find a shelter and a lawyer for free for the girl, and you should do more? Are those people crazy? Why can't they put the responsibility on Mark? And Linda, I would send her a nice message, telling her to go screw herself, and maybe your son is a dog because of the way she raised him, and not because of something I did or did not do. And since the baby is her grandchild, she should take responsibility for it, since her son can't be bothered to be a man. I was looking to buy a place, but I wanted something very small since I'd be living alone, and I don't want a lot to clean. I found something pretty unique, a lot that had a house that burned down and was demolished. Everything was taken out so the land could be built on, but there was a garage still standing with a 1-bedroom mother-in-law suite above it. Just a bedroom, bathroom, and little kitchen. This was surrounded by a half-acre of mostly forest. I didn't know what to think at first, till I went and toured it. I loved it. The 3-car garage would give me space to work on my car and bikes. The suite upstairs was bigger than any apartment I had and would be all my own to customize in a way I never could with a flat. And the price was super low, unbelievably low for the area, so I actually could pay a 50% down payment and I'll own it in full in 5 years. I checked with the local regulations, and it would be legal for me to live in the mother-in-law suite on the property. Anyway, long story short, I closed on the house and moved in. I was really happy with the place. It was just the right amount of space for me, roomy without being a pain to clean. The outdoor space is great for my dogs, and hosting barbecues with my friends. So, on to the trouble. A couple of neighbors made comments about being glad someone moved in to fix the place, which was an eyesore on their street. But a while later, my neighbors started asking when I'd start building, and I realized they thought I was living in the mother-in-law suite and planning on building a main house. I said I wasn't planning on it yet. I don't need a lot of space yet. My neighbors got upset I was bringing down the property value by leaving a vacant lot and living in an old garage, not mentioning that garage was new and a whole residence. I said I wasn't trying to bring it down, I keep it nice, but I didn't have house building kind of money. They said that I was bringing it down just by keeping it as is, since its value was maybe 1/6 of the other home's values. I got frustrated and said I wasn't the one that burned the house down. Maybe blame whoever did that. I just got a place as is. The neighbors got upset with me, saying that basically they had been close with the previous neighbors and the fire had been a tragic accident. I said sorry, I didn't know, but honestly, they couldn't put their expectations on me after I'd bought a place, not knowing any of that. I just bought a place wanting to get something I could afford. How could I be expected to spend 6 times as much, suddenly? The neighbor said that if I was buying a demolished building's land, there is an expectation that I rebuild. Am I the idiot for buying the land without plans of building? Not the idiot. This isn't about property values. It's about micromanaging neighbors who want to tell you what you can do with your own property. As long as you don't have a bunch of rusting cars or cooking pets, they can all go pound sand. This, your property, your rules. Don't let your neighbors bully you into doing what they want. That being said, a fence might be a good investment for both privacy from your neighbors and to clearly mark out your property in case they decide to slowly encroach on your land, i.e. planting a garden that creeps onto your property. It sounds to me like you have scored yourself a total bargain. Owning instead of renting and being clear of the loan within 5 years makes your purchase sound like a very savvy investment. Well done, you lucky dog. No offense intended. As for your neighbors, you don't even owe them an explanation. You are hardly responsible for satisfying their expectations. If raising the price of their own homes is so important to them, tell them they are welcome to build a house for you. If you really want to make the neighbors angry, tell them that you're thinking of bringing in a couple of trailers for your extended family. Then sit back and watch the fun. I, 40 male, recently proposed to my girlfriend, call her Hannah, 28, and our wedding day is next July. As we're organizing the bridal party, the issue came up that Hannah doesn't have any close girlfriends. Her best friends are all guys, and while I've accepted it and I'm not jealous, I was at first, I admit it, but got over it. She says she wants a best man, not a maid of honor, and no bridesmaids, which is weird in my opinion. My family is traditional. I know they won't like it if she has no bridesmaids there, and a guy instead. My dad already thinks Hannah's relationship with her male best friend is inappropriate, and she shouldn't be so close to another guy when she's in a long-term relationship. To be honest, I don't like her best friend either. I feel like he doesn't like me and wants to turn Hannah against me, but I hold my tongue because I know she'd get mad if I told her. I said she should choose some girls as bridesmaids instead, but Hannah refused, saying she's not close enough to any girls. I suggested she could ask her 2 sisters, which upset her because she has been no contact with her family for about 10 years. I pointed out this could be a good chance for her and her sisters to reconnect. Honestly, I think no matter what issues you have, family should be at your wedding. She kept stubbornly refusing. Hannah kept saying that she didn't care about having bridesmaids or a maid of honor. She just wants her best friend there. She said he's like her family, and he was there for her when she went no contact with her real family. She wants him at her wedding. I kept trying to explain why it made me uncomfortable, but she just wouldn't listen. She said it was unfair and claimed that there is no way Jack is romantically interested in her. He said he's gay. In the end, I said that's fine. She could have a guy on her side of the party, but only if I could have a girl on my side. Hannah said that that was fine and didn't mind, but that quickly changed when I said who I wanted to invite. My ex-girlfriend, call her Sasha, 34. Hannah said it was one thing to want a friend at the wedding and another to invite an ex, but Sasha and I were together for 7 years, and now we are still on good terms, so I would say she's a friend. And since we were together so long, I think she is just as much family to me as Hannah's friend is to her. I said it was hypocritical for Hannah to get jealous of me wanting a female there when she wanted her male friend to be there. She said it's different, but I think it's the same thing, if not worse on her end. Sasha doesn't have an issue with Hannah, but I think her friend doesn't seem to like me, even if he's never said it outright. She brought up how my parents, mainly my dad, keep saying that they want me to get back with Sasha, which isn't even my fault. I said either Jack goes and she asks her sisters to be bridesmaids, or I get to have Sasha in the wedding party. Hannah isn't talking to me now. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. Her gay best friend versus a 7-year ex-girlfriend? Your parents liking her choice in wedding party being more important to you than her feelings? Insisting she make her sisters her bridesmaids, even though she has no contact. Dude, do you even like your fiancé? No, you just like that she's under 30. You are the idiot. You know it's different to have a friend there than an ex-partner, and pretending like it isn't any different is a crappy, gaslighty thing to do. Trying to get her to reconnect with her family is also not your place. She went no contact for a reason. You say she won't listen, but honestly, it sounds like you're the one who's being stubborn and refusing to listen. And what's with this whole "he says he's gay" nonsense? That sounds vaguely phobic. If he doesn't like you, it's probably for a reason. This is a crappy ultimatum you've given your fiancé, and I would apologize ASAP before she heads for the hills. OP is definitely toxic and controlling and acting like a toddler throwing a fit. I really hope Hannah figures this out ASAP and gets out before the wedding, or she's going to end up in a toxic marriage with toxic in-laws. The fact that she's already no contact with her family makes me think that she has been through enough already and really doesn't need or deserve this. Once a year, not last, my family goes to a fancy restaurant, like a place where the steaks are 45 plus and sides a la carte. It's a fun treat for us kids, at least as our parents pay. We all catch up and we get to try places we can't afford yet ourselves. So 2019, when we went, my parents invited my fiance's mom as we were newly engaged and she hadn't met everyone. When invited, his mom expressed that she couldn't afford it, and I told her it was fine because my parents were paying. It's a treat for everyone. We knew that anyway because we have been helping recently. I left absolutely disgusted with his mom. She got 4 whiskey sours, red wine, Coke, the most expensive steak, added shrimp and lobster. Then she got 3 sides and dessert. Her bill alone was just over $500. Meanwhile, the single highest bill for the other 7 people was $82. My parents bit the cost and asked me not to complain. They don't want to start anything. But boyfriend was equally mad and talked to her. She tried to say that since they picked the restaurant, they could afford it. So it wasn't a big deal when it was explained that this was a once-in-a-year thing before. Well, this year, my mom invited her again, despite my no, but not so subtly added a cap to the price point. Well, 20 minutes or so into the dinner, boyfriend's sister and son showed up, unexpectedly, which made me mad. But she asked for her own check, so at least she wasn't coming for a free meal. Her card was denied. His mom claimed to not bring her wallet. Boyfriend immediately asked for her check, but my dad, being my dad, went ahead and paid it. Walking out, his sis jokingly asked where we were going next year. His mom said it's just a joke, calm down. So I canceled the scheduled payment to help her pay 1/4 of her rent. It was the same as the meal. So I told her her daughter could pay it, or she could. My boyfriend is being harassed by them now. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. The future mother-in-law's actions were pretty gross and entitled, and I'm certain she planned this little show with her daughter. But beware, OP. This is the family that you will marry into. That deserves some deep thought and consideration. Yeah, I say this out of care too, but are you sure you want to marry into this family? Your fiancé may not be that way, but you will become family with these people. It sounds like you'll be signing up to bankroll his side of the family in the long run. Well, what about OP's parents not respecting their boundaries? They said the fiancé's mom was invited, despite my no. That's really not great. If OP doesn't want their crappy in-law to ruin a cherished family tradition, their parents should respect that. For 2 years now, The meal has become about managing embarrassment and tension instead of catching up. They have the right to ask not to have to manage that. OP, please have a serious talk with your parents about how much including your mother-in-law is damaging your joy at these dinners. If your parents don't pull an invite to save their wallets, they might be motivated to do it to spare you the stress. Not the idiot, but future mother-in-law and sister-in-law knew the card would be declined, and it wasn't mother-in-law's place to invite sister-in-law and her child, so don't invite any of them ever again. Where did this rent thing come from? It's like a random twist ending. Do you regularly pay for some of your mother-in-law's rent? Cut her off financially, permanently. She's a leech. Yes, since 2019, we have helped pay a fourth of her rent. She was in an accident, so couldn't work then. And then with global issues, she lost her job. She is now getting back on her feet again and started a new job a few months ago. So last year, my 30 female, best friend, 30 female, lost her job. Around the same time, a position in my husband's 31 company, he owns the company, became available, and she applied for it without telling us. She ended up getting the job, and I was happy for her because it was the type of role she had always wanted. My husband was less happy when he found out, but he agreed not to get involved since she wasn't directly working with him. Yesterday, he told me she was going to be fired. At first, he wouldn't tell me why, but later told me it was because she was telling the coworkers in her department that she would get them the better projects because she was friends with me, and that she kept telling her manager that she was my friend whenever she got reprimanded in a threatening way. He told me it wouldn't happen immediately, but it would be soon. I told him I needed to warn her to quit or find a new job before getting fired, but he told me not to. Instead, he told me she needed to face the consequences of her actions, and I shouldn't get involved, that he had only told me as a courtesy because she probably won't take it well. I still want to tell her. I've known her since I was 5 and we're very close. If the situation was reversed, I think she would tell me, but I know it will cause problems with my husband. Am I the idiot if I warn her? You are the idiot. Your husband told you this in confidence, and telling your friend this information could have severe repercussions on your husband at work. Your best friend isn't even a good friend by trying to use her friendship with you to get what she wants at this job. Don't be surprised if your husband, rightfully, never trusts you again if you tell her this information. Are you even upset that she tried to use her friendship with you at the workplace? Don't tell her. Your husband isn't firing her. The manager is. She got herself into this mess by trying to throw imaginary weight around that she shouldn't have. Let me be clear. This could affect your husband's livelihood, and therefore the two of you as a family. If he was even suspected of playing favorites, it would sour his work relationships immediately. She's using you and your husband without considering the consequences.